Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Hello friends, this is Vijay. Welcome to ForumIAS Hindu Daily. In our today's news discussion, we are going to see the topics in the slide. The first topic, biodiversity is us and we are biodiversity. It came in the editorial section. Then the second one is India missing the graphene bus. Then the third one, treatment worth 61,000 crore provided under PMJ Scheme. Then the fourth one, world's largest grain storage plant. The Indian government, they have been planning for world's largest grain storage in India. So the article is all about it. Then the last one, CITES program 2.0. The cabinet, it had given its note for the CITES program 2.0. So these are all the topics we are going to discuss today. Now without any delay, let us dive into the discussion part. The first one, biodiversity is us and we are biodiversity, right? So the author is Kamal Bava. He is a presidential emeritus of the Bangalore-based Ashoka Trust. So he is the author of this article. In the intro part, okay, we can trifurcate this article, okay. So in the first part, he have been stating that on May 22nd, the international community, they observed the International Biodiversity Day, right? And he have been discussing what is meant by biodiversity and what constitutes biodiversity. Biodiversity is the composition of life forms and the interconnection between them and the environment in which where they are sustaining. So these all parts, it have been cumulatively constituting the biodiversity. And he is stating that if we are maintaining the biodiversity means, then it won't require any cost to mitigate the carbon from the atmosphere. So this is what he have been discussing here. Then he is also stating that apart from ensuring the good environment for the human beings, the biodiversity, it is also providing food, shelter, medicines, mental health, recreation and spiritual enrichment, right? So these are all the benefits as a human beings we are getting from the biodiversity. Then this is the biodiversity which have been forming the base of the sustainable green economy. What is meant by sustainable green economy? In green economy, the carbon footprint will be very low and it won't affect the environment, right? Then the waste generation also will be very low. So these are all the few basic characteristics of the green economy. Then he is also stating that, are we taking sufficient measures to conserve the biodiversity? Definitely not, right? In today's environment, we actually polluting the environment by excess carbon emissions from our industries, transports, etc. So in this way, he is stating that we are not taking any sufficient measures to conserve the biodiversity. Not only India, but the entire global community, they are very reluctant towards taking the measures towards conserving the biodiversity. In this context, he is stating that the Forest Conservation Amendment Bill, okay. So recently, the Forest Conservation Amendment Bill, it came into the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And this bill, it clearly states that with the prior approval of the government, right, the forest bureaucracy, they can lift the restriction of using the reserve forest, right? So if they are lifting the restriction on the reserve forest means, then the private entities, they can establish their establishments in the reserve forest area. And it will lead to the eradication of the biodiversity resource what we are having in India, right? Then in the second part, nurturing and managing biodiversity, he have been discussing about two primary things. The first one, he is stating that the entire forest conservation mechanism is with the Indian Forest Service and he is also termed forest. Why he is terming the forest? Because he is stating that the forest, the term itself is flawed in Indian context. What it states, according to the forest bureaucracy, if the landscape is constituting 1 hectare and the tree canopy density is 10% means it will be constituting as a forest. So in this way we are terming it as a forest. But you know very well, according to the Indian State of Forest report, in the year of 2021, we are having an actual forest cover of 24.3%. Okay. So this is the actual forest cover we are having. But we are supposed to have a forest cover of 33%. Almost 80 million hectares we are having a forest cover. But among these 80 million hectares, most of the forest landscape, it constitutes the canopy density between 10 to 30%, which means we are lacking the dense forest vegetation in India. So this is what he have been terming here. Then he is also stating about the Forest Rights Act 2006. It is one of the novel act we all well known, right? It came into the enforcement in the year of 2006. It states very clearly that the indigenous groups like scheduled tribes and other forest dwellers, they need to be given the participation in the conservation measures. But are we implementing these provisions? Definitely not, right? So this is the one he is clearly stating here. It is only in the paper, not in the practice. So this is what he have been stating in this part. Then in the mainstreaming biodiversity, he is stating that he is discussing about one novel mission, okay, national mission on biodiversity and human well-being. Let us discuss it very briefly. And this is the scheme name, National Mission on Biodiversity and Human Well-being. Okay. So in the year of 2018, PMSTIAC, which means Prime Minister Science and Technology and Innovation Advisory Council, then they actually made a consultation with various ministries, including the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, to devise this national mission. So here, what is the objective? Here they are actually linking the people's economic prosperity with the biodiversity science. So here, with the help of this mission, India is going to achieve both the people's economic prosperity and the conservation of biodiversity. How they are going to do? There are various mechanisms are there. Let me discuss it very briefly. But here you can see that in this scheme, we are also clubbing the UN SDG goals, and here we are going to create the solutions for challenges in agriculture, health and climate change, because these are all the three domains which have been putting excess stress on the government's fiscal resource, right? So therefore, here with the help of this mission, we are going to tackle the challenges in agriculture, health and climate change. I hope you all will know what are the challenges we are facing in agriculture, health and climate change, right? With respect to agriculture, the productivity is very low and the excess temperature we are witnessing, which have been impeding the productivity. Then with respect to health, the excess temperature have been paving the way for various epidemics like malaria, right? So in the domain of climate change, you all well known, there are a lot of issues we are facing, right? So under this mission, the government is going to club the research institutions, government and NGO organizations, right? So they all will work together. They will provide the roadmap and they will closely monitor the parameters, certain parameters in the action plan, and they will be providing feedback to the government agencies. Then under this mission, the government is going to create a separate cadre of biodiversity science professionals. Okay. So these are the people who are going to sustain and secure the Indian biodiversity. So these people, they will be working in the ground level and they will be providing inputs to the government agencies, and they will also implement the plans which are pushing through the ministries. Then finally, the mission hopes to initiate a mass movement to engage India's massive population to feel pride in our natural heritage, help in restoring and conserving nature. Now let us discuss the impact of this scheme. First impact, boosting the rural economy. How we are going to boost the rural economy? We all well know the ever expanding agriculture, it have been taking a toll on the biodiversity. Therefore, here let us take two examples. One is paddy cultivation. Okay, you all will know in India, almost 40% of the farmers, they are engaging in the cultivation of paddy and wheat. But paddy, it is a water extensive crop. Almost 5,000 liters it will take for 1 kg of production. Okay, so if we are consuming 1 kg of rice, means you are virtually consuming 5,000 liters of water. So this is that much water intensive crop. And here what we are going to do to boost the rural economy means, rather depending on these types of crops like paddy, wheat and all, better we should go for the long-term crop, right? Which means the red sanders, then sandalwood, okay? These all are the deciduous forest crops. And here the forest agencies, they will advise the farmers to plant the red sanders and the sandalwood in the agricultural landscapes in the deciduous region. And in the course of time, you all well know, after 20-25 years, these red sanders and sandalwood, they will attain their maturity, right? So at that time, the forest agencies, they will procure the trees from the agricultural landscape and they will pay the remuneration to the farmers. Here, each red sander tree, it will fetch the profit of almost 2 crore to 4 crore. Okay. So you might know in international market, there is a huge demand for these variants of crops. Therefore, by shifting the biodiversity based agriculture, the forest agencies are going to transform the farmers to more profit crops. Then the second one, augmenting the international commitment. With the help of the tree plantation, we can sequester the carbon from the atmosphere. In that way, we are going to abate the RED Plus commitments and the UN SDG commitments. Then what are the economic advantage we are having? Already we have a plan to double the farmers' income, right? But we just postponed it to 2024. Therefore, with these initiatives, we can double the farmers' income and we can make the agriculture industry as a more profited one. So the last impact is developing a national commitment. It will generate a strong national community committed to sustaining the biodiversity, promoting the social cohesion, and uniting the public behind an important goal. How we are uniting the public? Because we are providing the economic prosperity to them. That's how we are making them united as a single social unit towards tackling these challenges, right? These are all the impact with respect to the mission, friends. Now with this note, let us move on to the next article. This is the second article, guys. Is India missing the graphene bus? This is the second article. And here the author is Ajay Kumar. He is a former defense secretary. In the intro part, he have been comparing the artificial intelligence with the graphene. In the software domain, we all well know the importance of the artificial intelligence. Like that, he is stating graphene is very important for the hardware sector and a wonder material. Here he have been discussing about the characteristic features of the graphene and the applications in which we can use the graphene. And we all well know the graphene is a 2D material. Okay, it is a 2D carbon allotrope, and with the help of exfoliation process, we are synthesizing graphene from graphite. So the process is very elaborate, and we should know the characteristic features of the graphene, right? The first one, the tensile strength. Tensile strength is very high. Then conductivity is very high. Then they are lighter material. They allows only proton to pass. Then they absorb electromagnetic waves. So these are some of the novel features of the graphene. And he have been discussing all these features here. And he is stating that graphene is having enormous applications in various industrial domains. In the environmental monitoring, we can use the graphene sensors, and in the wearable devices and in healthcare sector also, we can use the graphene sensors, right? So the graphene, with the help of the graphene, we can monitor the alkaline and acidity level in the environment, then the particulates in the environment, these and all can be measured. Then with respect to the defense industry, the graphene, it has the potential to absorb and dissipate the electromagnetic waves, right? Therefore, these characteristics makes graphene to use in the paintings of the fighter jets. So if we are painting the fighter jets with the graphene based ink means, then it will possess the stealth characteristics. Apart from that, the graphene is having high tensile strength, right? So therefore, we can use the graphene in the manufacturing of the missiles, then bullets, etc. and all. Then apart from that, he is stating that the global graphene market is having a potential of 175.9 million US dollars, which is according to the 2022. Between 2023 to 2030, the CAGR, compound annual growth rate, is 47%. So in the next 7 years, this market is having a potential of 47%. And he is stating that over the world, almost all the countries, they are enhancing their patent registration with respect to the graphene. But from India, we did only 8 filings. And China and Brazil, they are actually a leader in commercial production of the graphene. But with respect to India, we don't have any established commercial output from the industries. I would advise, don't dive into the title India's Progress, because here they had shortlisted some of the budding initiatives in the IITs and in the some industries. So therefore it is not important. In the conclusion part, the author have been insisting the government should take forward moves to promote the graphene based industry in India. And here guys, these are all the applications of graphene. The first one is bionic device. The term bionic means it is a mix of biology and electronic. What is meant by bionic device? It actually refers to the artificial organs which mimic the functions of the natural organs. So therefore, with the help of graphene, we can make bionic devices for cochlear implants, so which assist people with the hearing loss. Apart from that, we can make the pacemakers, because these pacemakers, these implants, they won't get eroded by the salt in their body. Then the automotive and the transportation industry. Here also, the composite characteristics of the graphene can be used in the making of several equipments like automotive batteries, tires, then anti-braking systems, etc. Then in the water purification, I already told you, it is possessing the filtration characteristics. The graphene material is possessing the filtration characteristics and it is readily absorb the particulates in the water. Therefore, the quality of the water after the filtration in the graphene membrane will be very high. And these films are non-heavy and they can be easily produced on a large scale. In India, already we are having huge deficiency for water. Therefore, with the infusion of the graphene in these industries, we can provide sufficient amount of drinking water to the citizens of India. Then the next one is bone and teeth implants. As like bionic devices, the graphene can be used as a bone and teeth implants because it is having high flexible and they are possessing high corrosion resistance, and we all well know the strength of the graphene, right? And apart from that, they are also possessing osteogenetic properties. What it means? Osteo means bone, okay? Genic means formation. So the bone formation properties. So if we are implanting the graphene bone implant means it will gel with the existing natural organ. So in that way, there won't be any gap in the implantation. So this is what it have been referring. And traditionally, we are using hydroxypathiate and chitosan for the bone and teeth implants. If we are combining the graphene means we can provide better implants in the future. This is the last one, food package. Graphene membranes, it can be used to preserve both the medicine and the food for a long time. And with the help of graphene membranes, we can prolong the shelf life of the food. In India, almost we are wasting 40% of the food. Okay, with the infusion of the graphene membranes, we can reduce this wastage and we can ensure the access and affordability of the food crops to each and every citizens. That's it guys. With this note, let us move on to the next article. Treatment worth 61,500 crore provided under the PMJ scheme. So it is a very important scheme, and government in its note it stated that it had spent 61,500 crore for the beneficiaries under the PMJ scheme. What is PMJ scheme? It is the world's largest health insurance assurance scheme, fully financed by the government, right? And it offers a sum insured of rupees 5 lakh per family for the secondary care and the tertiary care. And the PMJ scheme, it won't applicable for the primary health care. In primary health care only, in India, people have been spending some 40% out of pocket expenditure. Okay, 40% of the out of pocket expenditure have been spending for the primary health care, but a PMJ scheme, it doesn't cover the primary health care. Under the PMJ scheme, the cashless and paperless transactions alone availed. So therefore, there won't be any corruption in the implementation of the scheme. Then the health benefit packages, it covers all the surgery, then the medical and daycare treatments, and the cost of medicines and diagnostics. Therefore, the institutions, they won't charge you any charges for the consumables because all the consumables are getting covered under the scheme. Then the packaged rates. What it means, the packaged rates. Rates that include everything so that each product or service is not charged for separately. So here the government is providing each surgery in a packaged rate basis. Therefore, you won't be ending up in paying any extra charges for the institutions. Then here guys, you need to know the funding pattern of the PMJ scheme. There are three funding patterns are there. One is 60:40 and another one is 90:10. Then another one is 100%. This 100% is applicable only for the union territories. The central government will provide 100% funding to the union territories, and for J and K plus northeastern states, the government is providing a funding pattern of 90:10. So 90% will be incurred by the central government and 10% will be incurred by the state government. Then 60:40 for the rest of the states. Therefore, you need to know West Bengal and Odisha, they hadn't implemented the scheme because they are having their own state insurance schemes. Therefore, they hadn't implemented the PMJ scheme. And the nodal agency, NHA is the nodal agency, National Health Authority. It constituted as an autonomous entity under the Society Registration Act 1860. So they are the one who are implementing the PMJ scheme. Then state health agency, they are the apex body in the state level. Okay, so they are responsible for the implementation of the PMJ scheme in the state level. What are the challenges in implementing the PMJ scheme? The first one is cooperation of states. We all well known health is a state subject, and in almost all the states where the PMJ is getting implemented, they are supposed to incur 40% funding, right? Except a few northeastern states and Jammu and Kashmir. In rest of the states, the state government, they should provide 40% funding for the scheme. So it have been causing the state apparatus to show some reluctance towards implementing the scheme. Then the second one, burden of cost. Costs are a contested area between the care providers and the center. And in India, we all well know, almost 60% of the care providers are private entities. So 60% care providers are private entities, and these private entities, they have been stating that the funding what they are getting under the PMJ is insufficient. And the third one, inadequate health capacities. And in most of the central Indian states, the public health care is in a dilapidated condition. So it have been adding excess burden on the private healthcare sectors. So therefore, they are not able to provide the sufficient care to the patients who are coming to them. Then the last one is unnecessary treatment. We all well know the private healthcare providers, they are very profit motive. So they already stated that the amount of what they are getting under the PMJ is insufficient. Therefore, they are levying unnecessary treatment on the people and they are doing illegal claims under the PMJ scheme. So these are all the challenges what the government is facing under the PMJ scheme. Now with this note, let us move on to the next article. This is the fourth article, guys. World's largest grain storage plant centered to implement pilot project in 10 districts. So here, what they are going to do. Yesterday, the Union Cabinet, they had given their approval for the formation of Interministerial Committee, right? So this Interministerial Committee, it will be composed of various ministers. The example, Minister from Agriculture and Farmers Welfare will be there. Then the Minister who is responsible for the Consumer Affairs, Food and PDS, then Food Processing Industry. These all ministers will be there. And they will do a roadmap for the infrastructure facility in the block level. So the first one is the infrastructure facility in the block level. Then the next one, this is the world's largest grain storage plant. Then the third initiative is with respect to the primary agri credit societies. So these are all the three initiatives it were taken yesterday, and we all well known in the post harvest session, farmers will be having two options. One, to sell the crops in the market, and another one to sell the crops to the FCA at MSP price, right? Generally, the farmers will be flooding the market in the post-harvest session, so the supply will be very high. The supply will be very high and the prices will be slumped, and the farmers, they won't fetch enough profits. So this is the issue what the farmers community have been facing. According to the Ashok Dalwai committee, we are supposed to double the farmers income by 2022, but we had postponed it to 2024. Therefore, to provide better remuneration to the farmers and to reduce the wastage of agricultural crops in the food chain, the Union Cabinet, they have been coming up with this initiative. So in the every block, they are going to establish the infrastructure for storing the crops. Then the second thing, in the future, they are going to establish the largest grain storage in India. For that, they are actually looking up for a pilot project. This pilot project, it will be take place in 10 selected districts in the country. So this is what they have been stating here. And the third one, initiative with respect to the primary agri credit society. Generally, the farmers, they will be providing the crops to the primary agri credit society, and these primary agri credit society, they will sell off the crops in the market and they will return the remuneration to the farmers. But now the farmers, they can provide the crops to the primary agri credit society and they can get the remuneration at MSP. Suppose farmer is having 100 tons, means they can sell off 20 tons to PACS and they will get the remuneration at the MSP. Remaining crops, they will be storing it for the future sell off. In the future, if the prices are better, means they can sell off in the market, else they can sell off to the PACS, and the PACS, they will be selling off the product in the market and the remuneration will be transferred to the farmers. So this is the idea they conceptualized. And this is the PDA system, guys. How the PDAs and all have been functioning. The farmers, they will be selling the crops to the agencies accredited by the FCA, Food Corporation of India. Then the Food Corporation of India, they will transfer the food crops to the state governments. And these state governments, they will roll out the crops to the fair price shops which are operating under the state apparatus. And in the fair price shops, the beneficiaries will be getting the crops what they are supposed to get. And here, the price what the FCA is procuring is procurement price, and there will be a lot of transportations and wastages and all in the transferring, right? So it will be clubbed as a central issue price. Anyway, there will be a disparity between the procurement price and the central issue price, and here the subsidy will come. So the subsidy, it will bridge the disparity between the procurement price and the central issue price. Then the distribution will happen. In the fair price shops, you will get the crops in the central issue price. So this is the mechanism of the entire PDA system. And what is PACS? Primary Agri Credit Societies are the village level cooperative credit societies that serve as the last link in the three-tier cooperative credit structure headed by the state cooperative bank. So the state cooperative banks in the tier 1 and the district cooperative banks in the tier 2, then the primary agri credit societies in the rural level. So these primary agri credit societies, they are providing short-term and medium-term agricultural loans to the farmers for various agricultural and farming activities. Apart from that, they will also provide information related to the cropping, and they will provide some inputs to the farmers. The first PACS in India, it was formed in the year of 1904. What is the significance of PACS? The first one, access to credit. They will readily provide the credit to the farmer without any much paperwork. Then the second one, financial inclusion. Under the PACS, primary agri credit societies, farmers can open the account and they can do saving, they can take loans, right? I already told you, PACS will provide the short-term and medium-term loan. Short-term means up to 6 months and medium-term means up to 2 years, right? They won't provide any long-term agricultural loans to the farmers. Then the third one, convenient service. They will be operating in the rural ranges. So farmers, they don't need to travel to the urban regions to get their loans. Then the next one, promoting the saving culture. here in the PACS, the farmers can open the saving account and they can do saving. And this amount, it will be lent off to the other beneficiaries in the form of loan. Then the last one, enhancing the credit discipline. PACS, it have been enforcing the farmers to repay the loan at the right time. Therefore, it is promoting the credit discipline among the rural people. That's it, guys. With this note, let us move on to the next article. This is the last article, guys. Cabinet note for the second phase of CITES program. So, city investments to innovate, integrate and sustain. This is the acronym for the CITES program. Previously, we were having CITES 1.0 and yesterday the government rolled out the CITES 2.0 and it will be getting implemented in 18 cities which should be selected based on the competition. We are having three components under the scheme. The first one is funding. Okay, the first one is funding. Here the projects which are based on the climate mitigation and adaptation will be funded and it will be nurtured. Then the second one, extending support to the state apparatus. So the central government, they will extend their support to the state apparatus to roll out the certain novel initiatives under their missionaries. Then the third one, benefits need to be rolled out, right? So after the inventions, what the benefits accrued from the initiatives, it will be spread to all the states by the third component. So this is how the plan is devised. And here we need to know the implementing agencies. What are the agencies who are implementing the program? Here the French Development Agency will be there. Then KfW will be there. It is a German based agency. Then European Union will be there. Then the National Institute of Urban Affairs will be there. So these all institutions will be clubbed in the implementation domain. And the program, it will incur 1760 crore, right? So this is the total amount it is going to incur. Apart from that, 106 crore it will come from the European Union. And here they had given three components. I already explained you. The first one is about the financial component. Then the second one, extending support to the state apparatus. Then the third one is to rolling out the benefits what we are accruing from the initiatives to each and every states. So this is the three component which was devised under the CITES program. Now with this note, let us move on to the question part. Before moving to the question part, let me give you a comprehensive overlook of what we discussed today. The first one, the article which came in the editorial section. Then the second one, we discussed about the graphene and the applications. Then the third one is about the PMJ scheme. Then the fourth one is about the recent government initiative on expanding the storage infrastructure. Then the last one is about the CITES program. This is the first question, guys. It came in the prelims 2023. The ilmenite and rutile abundantly available in certain coastal tracts of India are rich resource of which one of the following? The first one is aluminium. Aluminium, we are having a ore called bauxite. So it is available in the Chota Nagpur region. So the first one is wrong. Then the second one is copper. Copper's ore is chalcopyrite. So in India, almost 50% of the copper are imported from foreign destinations. So the second one is also wrong. Then the C for iron, we are having hematite and magnetite ores in India. So that the ilmenite and rutile are not an answer for the answer option C. And D is the right one. Their ores are ilmenite and rutile and it is abundantly found in the western coastal tracts and in the eastern coastal tracts. This is the second question. Consider the following trees: jackfruit, mahua and teak. How many of the above are the deciduous trees? And here jackfruit is a tropical crop, right? So they are not a deciduous crop. And mahua and teak are the deciduous crop. Apart from that, we are having sandalwood, right? So sandalwood is also a deciduous crop. And two options are right. Only two is the right one for the question number 2. This is the third question. Consider the following: aerosols, foaming agents, fire retardants, lubricants. In the making of how many of the above are HFCs are used? We all well know HFC is having high global warming potential and it was banned with the Kigali Agreement. And HFC, it was getting used in the formation of aerosols and in the manufacturing of foam agents, fire retardants and lubricants. So all the above are right. So the answer option D is the right one for the question number 3. Now we are arriving at the end of the discussion, friends. Thank you for your patience. Let me catch you in another discussion tomorrow. Bye.